Good evening, everyone. My name is Ellen, and I am one of the naturalists and educators out here at Severson Dells. If you've come out for a school program, you may have seen me here during your field trip. I have been out here at Severson Dells for a few years now, and I love nature. And I'll bet if you're watching this video, you probably love nature too. And there's so much out there that is just so incredible. And there's never a day that I can go out there and not just find something to be of interest, whether it's bugs in a log, birds flying overhead, flowers out in the prairie, and even cold winter days, there's always something awesome to find out there. So I hope that you enjoy getting out in nature too, and come out and visit us someday here at Severson Dells. Tonight we're going to be reading one of my favorite books, Antlers Forever by Francis Bloxam, illustrated by Jim Sahlers. Antlers Forever. For Big Dog and our children and our children's children with love. When young Orville Anderson, Tarkington Moose, awoke one bright morning, his antlers were loose. Uh-oh. Oh dear, cried poor Orville, a terrible thing. I've worked on these antlers since early last spring. Now winter is coming, and what shall I do without my fine antlers? Oh, boo-hoo, hoo-hoo. I've polished them daily and kept them quite strong. Now what in the world do you think has gone wrong? Uh-oh. It's vitamin M. That's the thing I must lack. You get that from beezles, and those grow out back. I really hate beezles. They're stringy and tough, but losing your antlers is serious stuff. So Orville ate beezles galore until he was full, and he burped and ate more. You ever had to eat something that you knew was good for you that you didn't really want to eat? Yeah, I think we've all done that. I'm so full of beezles. I'll sit down right here. He sat, and one antler slid over his ear. How dreadful, groaned Orville. This really is foul. I need good advice, so I'll go talk to Owl. Because of his eyes and the calm way he sits, Owl looks like a bird with remarkable wits. A lot of people think owls are wise animals. I don't think they're any more wise than any other animal, but we tend to think that they might be. He walked with great care down the path to Owl's tree. He knocked, and he waved, and he called out, "It's me! I have a big problem. My antlers go flop. If they aren't fixed soon, I'm afraid they will drop." Owl blinked his large eyes and curled his strong toes. Just what he was thinking of, nobody knows. "Young Orville," said Owl, "I thought that you knew that antlers like yours are held on by a screw. Your screw has come loose, as screws sometimes will do. This makes you screw loose. He-ho-ho, ha-hoo. To fix them is simple. We'll screw them back in. I'll hold them in place while you turn round and spin." "Oh, thank you," said Orville. "You're so very kind. Grab hold of my antlers. We'll give them a wind." What do you think? Is that going to help him any? I don't know. Let's see. With Owl holding on, Orville started to spin. There was screeching and flapping, a terrible din. When finally they quit, Orville crashed in a heap, and Owl was too tired to make even a peep. They waited a minute till all the dust cleared, and then Orville saw it was just as he feared. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. his antlers were off. There they lay on the ground. Poor Orville was stunned. He could not make a sound. Oh. He threw back his head and he cried and he howled. He wept and he snorted and bellowed and yowled. That's worse than losing a tooth. We always get excited when we lose our teeth, but losing your antlers is a lot more serious. A big voice then called out, "Come, come, my sad fellow. I was miles away, but I heard every bellow. Explain your loud cries. They're upsetting us all." When Orville looked up, he saw this moose was tall. A moose large and broad, with a beautiful beard. "Oh, sir," said young Orville, "it's just as I feared. I could not save them. My antlers fell off. It's terribly sad. Now my friends will all scoff." We've all had something like that happen, haven't we? We're afraid that everybody's going to make fun of us because something is different. Said Big Moose, "What nonsense! It's clear you don't know that moose shed their antlers so new ones can grow. You must wait till spring when new antlers will sprout, and they'll be much bigger, of that have no doubt. They'll also be heavy, and that's why it's best that antlers fall off so our heads get a rest." It's Antlers Forever, a new pair each spring. Isn't being a moose just a marvelous thing? Goodbye, Orville Anderson Tarkington Moose. I'll soon look like you, 'cause my antlers are loose. And that is the story of Orville the Moose, who learned not to fret when his antlers got loose. And the great thing about this book is you can learn more about antlers. It'll tell you, when do moose get their antlers? Antlers begin to grow when a moose is about a year old. By the time he is 18 months old, in September or October, so that's about a year and a half, a young moose will have small, spiky antlers. When do they grow those big, fancy antlers? Large antlers with many prongs come as the moose grows older. Food is as important as age, though, so a moose has to have plenty of good food to grow large antlers. So if it's a bad year, there's not a lot of food, he won't have really big, impressive antlers. How big can antlers grow? Now remember, this is a moose. We don't have moose around here. We have deer, so the antlers don't get quite as big, and they're a little bit different shape, and I'll show you those in just a minute. But on a healthy older moose that gets plenty of food, the antlers can be as large as 7 feet across. That's bigger than most people are tall. And weigh from 35 to 45 pounds. The largest moose antler ever found weighed 79 pounds. That's probably more than you weigh. That is big. That is enormous. Are both antlers exactly the same? That's a good question. And yes, usually they are a matched pair. They are like your hands, a right and a left, but sometimes an injury or poor food will cause one antler to look a little different from the other. That's pretty cool. What happens to the shed antlers? And this is a really good question, because you think of all the deer and everything that are around here, there should be antlers everywhere, because they always lose their antlers. How come we don't find them, or we don't find many of them? There's a good reason for that. They are nibbled on by mice, porcupines, and rabbits. What is left gradually crumbles into the soil. The little creatures that nibble get good vitamins and minerals from the dropped antlers. And why don't antlers just stay on all the time? It is easier for a moose to get through the winter without having to carry those huge antlers around. He needs less to eat, and he can move more quickly and easily. Does it hurt when they come off? No. although the spot where the antler used to be looks red for a while. Do you remember seeing that on Orville's head? Let's see. See right here? Little red spot where his antler used to be. What about the new antlers? New antlers grow exactly where the old ones used to be. They first begin to show in April, and then they grow very fast. And while they are growing, they are covered with a fuzzy skin called velvet. When the antlers reach full size in August, the velvet dries up. And then the moose rubs his antlers back and forth in the bushes and low trees to get the velvet off. It seems to itch. And the new antlers can be very hard and strong. When do moose shed their antlers? Antlers fall off sometime between mid-December and January. Sometimes both antlers fall off at once, but usually moose drop their antlers one at a time. It must feel odd to walk around with one antler, especially if it's that heavy. Be walking around like this. Do all moose have antlers? No, only the bull moose, the males or the boys, grow antlers. The females, called cows, never have them. And why don't cow moose have antlers? They use their energy for other things. Instead of growing antlers, they are very busy bearing and raising their calves. Moose calves are helpless when they are first born, and their mothers have to protect them at all times. Even though a mother moose does not have antlers, she is a fierce warrior when she is defending her calf. And like I said, we don't have moose around here, but we do have deer, and they're all related. And I have here some antlers from deer that we find around here. So here is one antler from a deer. You can see where it was attached to the head of the deer here. And this is a pretty impressive one. This one was not out in the woods very long because there are no gnaw marks on it where a little critter like a mouse or a vole would have been chewing on it. Here's a set of antlers still attached to the head of a deer. So this one was not shed. This was probably something that was brought into us by a hunter, or maybe somebody found a dead deer and brought us the skull. So what you can see where the eyes were here and the nose was down this way. But what I want you to see is where the antlers are attached here. There's a little raised spot of the bone of the skull, and that's where the antlers attach. And when they fall off, you can see this is the part here that was attached to this little post right here. So when these fall off, it'll break off right about there, and you still have this nub down below. If you come out to Severson Dells and you visit our building, you will see we have a touch table, and on our touch table we have a lot of antlers and bones. And if you take a look at them, you'll see that a lot of them have been chewed by the mice and the voles that are out there eating them and getting the calcium and other minerals that they need from them. So I hope you enjoyed Antlers Forever. It's one of my favorite books. And go outside, see if you can find your own antlers, and if you can't, come on up to Severson Dells and check out some of ours. Have a good night, and we'll see you another time.